It's been about 6 months since I posted my last video and thought I'd hop on here and do a video for you guys. What you're seeing here is something I acquired earlier in the summer from Andrew Herms down in Arizona tortoise compound, and I got 4 Dalmatian Hermans in here. They've been super easy to work with. I mean, these were and are my first tortoise species that I've ever had. Something that I had looked into getting, and until I was first going to get them through, that whole thing just fell apart. Got kind of discouraged, and Matthew Hills hooked me up with Andrew, and couldn't be happier. So on this side here is where I got my heat lamp here. They bury themselves down into the substrate here. Got a mixed topsoil, some sand in there, some Canadian peat, and I topped it with some Repti bark. Got a really shallow water dish to prevent anybody from drowning in there. That is a live fern in there. Right now they're just chowing down on some dandelion and some clover. I've got my UVB light over on this side here. They are in a plastic storage tub like this here. Reason behind that is to keep the humidity high in there for good shell growth. What I did notice when I first got them, they were constantly climbing at the walls. Obviously, having a clear setup like that, they're constantly looking out, so they were trying to get out and they'd flip themselves. Put this wood around the base of it so you could paint it. Put paper around it too. I just had some spare pieces laying around, so since I put this up, nobody's on their backs anymore. Then I've got my backup this winter coming. Planted a bunch of broadleaf leaves. I just started a second one too. These guys really chow. And then I also picked up a bunch of different diets, and I think it's gonna be some time before I get through all this stuff here. Since I'm in my turtle room here, I'll come over here and do a quick update on everybody else over here. This is one of my leaf turtles. She was in a setup about half this size here. Super curious turtles. I mean, super simplistic too. I would probably say they're my easiest turtles. I'd say the tortoises probably are the second easiest, and followed by the spotted turtles and the Florida box turtles. So live plants in there, a bunch of leaf litter. The only downside to this tank is I did buy it used. It's got a leak in it that I didn't know about it, and sometimes when I fill it up a little bit too much, it leaks out of this back corner underneath here. And what I did is when I cleaned it out this spring, is I put some more sealant in there thinking that would fix it, and I did fix some of the leak, but it's still a small drip that's happening. So this spring, next spring or summer, and when I redo the substrate again, I will try to get that leak fixed. I just gotta watch how much I fill in this back corner, because that's where it's happening, somewhere over there. Shallow water dish here. And then here I got my incubator that had to be moved because the tortoises went on that side here. Got mostly spotted turtles hatching, incubating in here. That is a Florida box turtle egg. I don't have very high hopes for it. It's kind of one I found by mistake. Found several of them by mistake looking for the box turtles outside. Spotted turtle egg, there's 2 in here, and then I got one in here that just hatched overnight, so Got a little bit of an egg yolk left on it yet, so I just put it on a wet paper towel, and usually within a day it's gone, and I'll put her in a small shallow thing of water for about a day or two, and then she goes in the tub with the rest of the hatchlings. And then also with this Reptivator, you might have saw this, but I plugged all these holes with some silicone. Really helps with the humidity in here. There's also a bunch of holes on the bottom of this too that I plugged up. This male spotted turtle now has his very own setup once again. I took that divider out, and both males have their own tanks now. Probably back here. It's hard to see things through the phone here. He's really hard to see just because this is my all black one. Oh, and here he is. He was back there kind of where I was initially looking, but as you can see, he's actually starting to get a couple spots now where he used to be more all jet black. And then down here, I used to have my female Floridas 2 per Wireland tub, and I had ordered up some PVC enclosures thinking that they would be done fairly soon, so I kind of got ahead of things, dismantling some setups and in hopes that those PVC were going to come, and they've gotten a big delay. So by no means is this a good setup. I'm a little embarrassed about it right now, but their new enclosure that is going to be coming, it is going to be awesome. It's going to be a 6-footer, so it's actually going to be bigger than what I got here, and I'm going to get that all planned up nice, and I think I'm going to have a lot more success in that PVC than what I'm having in this tub with these Florida box turtles. I did have live plants in there, but now with 4 of them being in here, plants just get trampled. Well, those are my 4 females, less than ideal. I mean, the plus side to all this, it's been summer here, and these 4 have been getting outside a lot in my outdoor enclosure. Over here, I got my leaf turtle that I had in. This one's been in this setup here. And that was my first leaf turtle that I got. Very similar to the other setup I have. I think I might just have 1 more plant in here or 1 less plant. Here I've got some Florida box turtles that had hatched last year. I got a divider in here because there's a little bit of a size difference on the 2 of them. Real wet sphagnum. Now some people keep their baby box turtles aquatic. I just keep them on wet sphagnum, as it does what one of my friend Nick had suggested I do when he was raising the Floridas. This one is quite a bit bigger. One on the other side is really pretty, but quite a bit smaller, and they're only like a month apart. But I had to separate them just due to some fighting that was going on over some food. Believe it or not, only a month difference. They're doing a lot better in this setup here because they're getting the warmth from down below. Humidity staying really good in here too, because like the leaf turtle setups, I put some polycarbonate sheets on top of the screen to keep the humidity in. And then I also was just using egg crate, but they were looking through and then they were actually scaling over that egg crate. So I picked up that plastic stuff, I forget what the heck they call it, and I cut it down to size. I think it was like a $5 fix, and they have stayed on their own side. It's all about those visual barriers. So eventually when the PVC enclosures come in, I'm gonna have glass tanks like this all across the top here, because these male box turtles used to be in waterland tubs too, the land versions, but like the females, I cut down their original setup in hopes that my PVC was going to be, I mean, I took them down in the time frame that they said they were going to be done, and there's been some delays on there, so these guys are not in the most ideal setup right now, a temporary setup, but they're going to be in just sort of a big of a setup as what the females are. I'm not going to keep them with the females. Tried putting this guy out there with the females over the summer, and he just ended up just being a little too aggressive with them, so he spent more of the time indoors this summer, where this male on this side here, he got to spend more time outside. And here I just got this piece of wood just because this other guy kept scaling over the top, and this, just putting this little piece of wood up here has just kept him from doing that. And that's why this is here too, because I don't want them falling out onto the ground. Down here, I upgraded the lighting on this spotted setup. I got 3 adult females in here. And with that upgraded lighting, live plants are doing awesome in here. And all these setups you're going to see tons of guppies. Sponge filter system is still working awesome too. I've got 2 juveniles in here and 1 adult female. I originally had 3 juvenile in here, but one of those juveniles ended up turning out to be a male. And I sold that one as soon as I found out that it was a male. Just because I have 2 males, there's no need to be having 3. And the 1 adult female that's in here, she was with 2 of the other adults, but one of those adult females was bullying her pretty bad, so she's in with the juveniles now, and that's just fine. If you spot here, I mean, I can take that egg crate off and allow her to nest if I notice some nesting her trying to do some nesting activity. In fact, I left this spot over here, but I don't see her digging in there at all. She is the youngest of my adults, so I wasn't really expecting anything this year. And then down in this tub, I upgraded the lighting down here too, and this one will happen earlier in the summer, so you can see the plant growth is really taking over down here. And I've got 2 adult females in here. One of those are one of the bullies, and she seems to leave that other female alone. That other one though, she was really chasing her own. And then here I've got my hatchling set up, and I got a bunch of hatchlings in here right now, along with the hordes of guppies, and now platies too are taking off in here. And then I have 1 lone beta fish in here too. Baby turtles really leave the fish alone for the most part, unless one ends up dying, and I know with this many fish that are in here, there are ones that die here and there. And these are all live plants in here except for these little baby hideouts. They use them for fish keeping. And you can see right here, there used to be little like almost like a plastic web that sat in there, and I take and cut them out. And the baby turtles really like resting inside there. That's usually where I can find them. And then again, I covered this on this side here just because they don't need to be going in the sand at all. And I do see Waterland Tubs actually makes like a grow out tub now for baby turtles. It's a little bit smaller version, but it basically eliminates that land section. It's something that is in the back of my mind of possibly getting one of those, try them out. But this has worked so well for me for hatchlings, and with my female spots in general, this has been my best year for hatching turtles. I've hatched probably a little over 30 hatchlings this year, and I don't have all my adult females even producing right now. It's just 4 of the females producing, and I got that 4th one up here in this tub here. That hasn't laid eggs yet. And then I've got these 2 that will be probably about, one of those about 2, both of them probably be about 2 more years out. So that is a little fall update on things. When I get the new PVC setups done, I'll do a video of those. Hopefully it won't be so long before I get those. I hope to have them sooner than later because it's driving me a little nuts. So if you have any questions, just leave a comment in the box and I'll try to get back to you as soon as I can. Thanks for watching.